Hello, my cookies, and welcome. Welcome to Russell Cooks. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I have a Moroccan-inspired lamb meatball dish. It's going to have the flavors of Morocco, sort of be like a tagine, but not. This is going to be a one-pot meal. It's going to be delicious. You can serve it over rice, however you want. I love these flavors. Now that we know what we're doing, let's gather our ingredients. You are going to need a pound of lamb. Now, traditionally, Moroccan cuisine, meat typically isn't always the forefront of every dish. So we're only going to be working with a pound of meat here. If you need to make more to satisfy your belly, by all means, do that. Otherwise, pound of meat is plenty. I got some garlic powder, some golden raisins, sultanas, panko breadcrumbs, cauliflower. Now this is optional. I'm using this because I can't eat garbanzo beans, chickpeas. Absolutely make this dish with chickpeas. It's delicious. Crushed tomatoes, 28-ounce can. I got an onion, cilantro. I got eggplant. I got an egg, ras al hanout. Now this is a spice blend from Morocco. It's a combination of coriander, cumin, amongst many others. Pitted green olives, garlic, lemon. I got some store-bought harissa, olive oil, and last but not least, I have fresh mint and dried mint. Oh, salt. I forgot to mention salt. Do I need to mention salt when I do ingredients? Is it just implied? Now that we know what we're doing and we gathered our ingredients, let's get cooking. Let's make our meatballs. First things first, we got one egg. Just crack that open. You're going to be using about half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Now, I like this over regular breadcrumbs. If you go with regular breadcrumbs, you might only need a third cup. If you get the seasoned, these happen to be, I didn't see it, Mediterranean. So it's got some other flavors in it. I would just get plain, personally. This is what I got. So I'm going to add about half a cup of here. 1 tablespoon ras al hanout, depending on how potent yours is. Maybe 2 teaspoons. For salt, this is kosher salt, so I'm going to put in maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon. Garlic powder, let's do like a scant tablespoon. Let's do like 2 teaspoons here. I like it garlicky. All right, I'm just going to mix around. Let's get our lamb in there. This is 1 pound lamb. If you can't find ground lamb, I guess you could use ground beef. Just make sure it's relatively fatty, 80-20. Nothing really leaner than that, because we're going to use the fat from this lamb to cook up our eggplant, amongst other things. So I'm just going to get on in there and break up this lamb. All right, let's make some meatballs. Let's do 8, because we're going to sear them up, and I don't want them to overcook. So I'll make these a little bit bigger. Cut it in half again. Cut those halves into halves. Roll them up. So you want them kind of hefty. I'm going to sear these up. Over here on my stove, I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm just going to heat it up over medium heat. Get it pretty close to smoking. I'm going to add the balls, sear them up. We're just going to brown these up on all sides, medium heat, increase to medium high if you need to. Shouldn't take too long, but while we're doing that, I'm going to get my eggplant going. Now, you don't have to peel the eggplant. I'm going to. So I got about 2 eggplants here. This is going to be a little bit more than a pound. If you do a pound, that's fine. Now, if you're not an eggplant person out there, suck it up. Just do it, all right? It's tasty. It's fine. This isn't an eggplant forward dish. This just adds some meatiness. Use the peeler here. All right, let's turn those meatballs. I'm gonna actually lower the heat. I want some good browning over here. Oh, they smell amazing. All right, let's just cut these up. I'm gonna cut them up into maybe 3/4 inch cubes. I want them pretty hefty. They'll shrink. All right, let's turn those balls again. All right, so let's get them out of here. So they're not fully cooked. That's fine. We're just going to take them out. We're going to fully cook them in the sauce. And look at all this. We've rendered out a lot of fat. We got a good amount of fat in there. Perfect. Now we have to cook up our eggplant, but we got to get our onion going as well. I got 1 onion here. This one's a little large. I'd rather have a medium-sized onion. I'm just dicing this up. Between a 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch is fine. All right, I'm going to increase heat. Let's do medium high. Let's get our onion in. All right, all the eggplant is going in. This is going to sop up all that fat. Drop the heat down to medium. All right, and I'm just going to saute this up. The pan looks dry. Make sure there's no burning on the bottom. Keep stirring. The eggplant has absorbed all the fat. Don't worry, it'll cook. We can always add a little bit more. While we're waiting on it, let's open our can of crushed tomatoes. I'm not really a huge fan of crushed tomatoes. I prefer whole peeled. Crushed can taste a little kind of ketchup-y, but with the overwhelming flavor of Ras El Hanout and some of these other things coming in here, I'm not too worried about it. Medium heat. Drop it down if it starts to burn. Let's get the rest of our ingredients that are going to go in there. We are going to need some more Ras El Hanout. So I'm going to put about another tablespoon in. Let's get our garlic. I'm just going to put it right in here. Let's do 4 cloves garlic. So you want about 4 teaspoons. Fresh garlic, please. Put it through a mincer if you want, hand mince it if you want. I don't really think it makes much of a difference. Starting to get there. We're getting a little bit of roasty toastiness on here. You can see a little bit of browning. That's good. I don't want it sticking too much. I might drop my heat just a smidge. I want to add more oil to this, and I will because I will need it to bloom the Ras El Hanout, but I don't want to add it yet because the eggplant will just sop it up. So I want to kind of keep cooking this a little bit. Raisins. So let's do 2/3 cup. Sultanas golden raisins here. I think they're fantastic. Don't omit these. Let's also get some, make sure you buy them pitted olives. I'm just gonna slice these maybe into thirds. I got about a cup of pitted green olives. Just gonna put them right in with my raisins. All right, I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Add as much as you need. Yeah, the eggplant has softened. The onion is softened. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium-low, 2 tablespoons. And I'm just going to put my garlic and Ras El Hanout right there in the middle. Just going to stir it around here and stir everything else into it here. I typically let that cook for about 30 seconds, but I'm going to take a little bit longer because I got a lower heat. So I'm going to do a minute or 2. The pan's pretty dry right now, but let's just let it kind of bloom. Right when it's about to burn, we'll get some liquid in there. We'll deglaze it. You are going to need some water. If you have leftover broth, like I used some last night, I didn't use the whole thing. I'm just going to use a half cup of this. Water's fine. All right, we're getting there. It's sticking to the bottom, but it's not quite burning yet. Almost. All right, let's get our tomatoes in. And water's fine. And I'm just going to scrape up that flavorful browning. All right, I have that over medium-low heat. I'm just going to let that come up to temperature while I do this cauliflower. I have a towel under here or the cutting board because I have stabbed myself in the hand before. It's like doing an avocado. You got to be very careful. Can you use the core? Yes. Do I have time to use the core right now? No. All right, this has just come up to a boil here. I got medium heat. Make sure your florets are small enough. You want them bite-sized. Again, chickpeas are ideal. Open the can, drain and rinse them, dump them in. You're good. You don't need to do this. I'm also going to hit it with my raisins and my green olives. Let's just stir that around. This is not a soup. It should not be soupy. It's kind of dry. Medium-low heat. I'm just going to cover it. I want the cauliflower to kind of start releasing a little bit of that liquid. While we're waiting, let's get our cilantro. All right, simmering here. Getting a little bit of sticking. Uh-oh. I'm going to put a teeny bit more liquid in. 1/4 cup. Let's get our harissa in. Let's get our meatballs in. Harissa, I'm going to put about maybe a 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup's good. We'll start with that. You can always add more. Let's stir it in. Look at that bright red color. The eggplant here still holding their shape. That's why I cut them so big. They're not mush yet. Let's get our meatballs in. Nestle them in. All right, I got medium-low heat. Let's let those meatballs cook through gently. Our meatballs are getting there. I think we need a couple more minutes. I'm going to drop the heat even more down to low. I don't want a rapid boil. I don't want stuff burning. This is relatively thick. It's a tagine, you know, it's almost like a stew. It's not a soup. These cauliflower could use a little bit more time. I think the meatballs are getting there. I'm just going to leave it on just a couple more minutes here. Let's take a look at this. You can temp your meatballs if you want. I think we're good. If you're making this at home, put a big thing of rice right here. Just a chunk of rice. And then let's get this in here. All right, I am going to put a little bit of lemon zest. You can put it in and stir it around, which is what I'll do over here. But I am just going to put a teeny bit, kind of like, almost like a Parmesan, a little bit of lemoniness here. You got your chopped cilantro, you got some chopped mint in here. Sprinkle this on top. And again, you have some extra harissa. You can always put some harissa in here. I keep saying serve this over rice. I really wish I'd made rice. All right, let's dig in. Oh, that's good. You just get hit with that meaty lamb goodness. And then all the flavors, the Ras Al Hanout, the garlic, they all just come in. It's so flavorful. Like you don't even need to take another bite. You can just go to bed and wake up and still have the flavor in your mouth. Cauliflower's al dente, but it's cooked. I like it. Let's have some eggplant here. It's got some nice meatiness to it. This is a very veg forward. Again, I got 2 meatballs. And with rice, I don't know whether I'd even want more. They really season everything. The tomato's good here too. It's not overly tomato forward. This is just a nice flavorful vessel for all these delicious ingredients here. Thanks so much for tuning in. That was Moroccan inspired lamb meatballs with cauliflower and eggplant. If you like what you saw, don't forget to check me out on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.